Hi, this is a test. I did some writing this morning and I thought I would put it on my YouTube channel. Uh, Again, I apologize because now I guess I'm an old lady and have to deal with that. But anyway, my morning from midnight on has been hell. Very intense pulsing, precise, hitting my neighbors. They told me that I have to leave, and I told them no, and they said, well, you'll suffer the consequences. So that's the state of the game where I am right now. They moved me from my 3-room apartment to this little 1-room apartment, and um, we'll see what happens. You know, I tend to believe them because here I am. Anyway, I wrote this today. Today is the 8th of July, 2018, a Sunday. And the lines in my face are getting deeper and deeper because of the stress and sleep deprivation. Okay, so let me read this to you. It's a lot of thoughts I put together. And I'll start with I remember the 4th of July, 2001. I was all alone in Boston handing out my flyer to the military. It was basically a flyer that told them to get out, that they had no constitutional right to be on our soil for any reason. The military is used to kill. The National Guard is to maintain the peace. So I'll continue. I knew the military was not supposed to be on our soil. They're meant to kill and for foreign use only. National Guard was of domestic use. The theory our forefathers thought was that National Guard came from our neighbors and were less apt to shoot us. That was then and this is now. The perps drive by my window and improve some of their electromagnetic weapons. The pulses are much more intense and destructive, and the vibratory effects much more long-lasting, like 15, sometimes 20 minutes. Just for their information, the perps, I want them all dead. I wish them all dead. And if there was somehow I could kill them all, I would, without a doubt. That goes for the assholes who invented this program. I wish you dead too. I wish the coup d'etat that you created to fall upon your ears, as in the French Revolution. The revolutionaries turned on their followers and began to kill them as well. The leaders feel that they would lose the power and position they had fought for. Just like you. You go after whistleblowers because you fear what they have to tell the American public. What greedy fuckers you are. The rich, tired of waiting in gridlock on the highways, afraid the resources will not outlast the population growth. Many reasons why this program was invented and is now used for a depopulation program. The cops think it's just because we're supposed to be crazy or dangerous or whistleblowers or dissidents and activists. But they're wrong. All positions the government fears. But I have news for all of you. This is a depopulation program. I read Heinz Kissinger's file on population versus resources, and that was an eye-opener written in 1976. The elite were thinking of this program even back then. I agree with several of their ideas. I see reason in some of the policies. Others I object to. I know all about your weapons. The government knows all about your weapons. The police know all about your weapons. All first responders know about these weapons. Medical know about these weapons. The only ones who are even getting a glimmer of what these weapons can do is the general public. These are incredible directed all-controlling devices that go through walls, and no man has a firewall to keep you out of his head. Anchoring is used. Death by 1,000 cuts is used, and deniability is built in. This is why long ago I realized that powerful with the ability of these weapons would lead to a totalitarian state. I knew instinctively that these weapons were too powerful the powerful to give them up easily, not only in our lives but scientifically. I do not think we can live with this technology. 5G will kill us slowly, some of us fast, but nonetheless it will kill us. The elite may get their wish. They may end up killing themselves and their progeny they are so worried about. Maybe in the jungles where there's no electricity that some of humanity will survive. But this seems all-encompassing. I know plants are very susceptible to the energy from the dew and die almost immediately. Animals alert to the use of these weapons as they know this is unnatural and wrong. The perps all work with first responders out of the fusion centers. Fusion centers are communication centers, so all of the government can communicate with each other. The target is named and a picture is taken. The target person is followed 24/7. Stress is initiated in many forms. Anchoring is created. Anchoring is Pavlovian training. It works like this: an everyday object is named, a color or colors, a vehicle, a gesture, a cough. It can be anything mundane, and the the point is it must be mundane, because if the person target complains of this mundane object gesture, it gives the appearance that the target is mentally ill. This has been used for many centuries to manipulate targets. Husbands would shut up wives they no longer cared for. Despots would lock people up at this label to shut them up, as is being done now with Julian Assange. I guess the Hillary election, where he communicated with Trump about the election, caused him much distrust in the government world. If that can be done to Hillary, why not me? Is the political thought. At least that's what I see. Whistleblowers are looked on as vermin. The government does not like to have its dirty, thieving, manipulating political selves aired in public. This is a no-no. They only want to present their political public persona. Let's see, where am I? Today, where the press has ceased in most cases to be the fourth estate, whistleblowers, dissidents, and activists are taking that place. Most of the press, and notice I say most, there are a few brave men still at work for freedom, are silent. They know all about these devices. The government knows all about these devices, and many of the people are finding out about these devices as well. Some, like me, the hard way. I was asset stripped, and that didn't take long because I didn't know what was going on. I was comfortable for my small life, but not ever wealthy. I had no idea what was going on. I was a lamb led to the slaughter, and Tereja knew it. He knew what he was doing. I was stressed to the max, using sleep deprivation to the point I would fall asleep walking. I would have done anything to sleep. You get to that point. Scott Burns and Danny McKenna was part of this stage. The reason behind the sleep deprivation, it opens the mind to the flight or fight mode. In ancient times, when we lived amongst the tall, tan grasses and lions hunted us, a survival mode kicked in, the flight or fight mode. This increases blood to the muscles. Intelligent forethinking is shut down. The eyes dilate, all the better to see you with, my dear. Breathing changes, heart rate, etc. The question is answered by our subconscious. Can we run or fight? Our body is prepared to do both. This is what these weapons have tapped into. Stress opens up the subconscious to suggestions. Now, the audio spotlight is the commercial aspect of this device. It drops suggestions, subliminal in most cases, to the subconscious. The military aspect does go through walls. Now, one other thing here is that in this training, they superimpose your own voice on these suggestions so that you think these thoughts are yours. You're like, oh, wow, that's a wonderful thought. That's pretty good, Barbara. And a lot of them I thought were me because I love new ideas. Now, the military aspect of this does go through walls. I have not read this, but that is from experience. The pulses I feel hit my head are suggestions from the stress that they have imposed, and it has opened my subconscious to their commands. And I believe that what they use for electromagnetic transport of these commands is a little stronger than your natural chemical ideas that you normally think. It superimposes itself on it so that you think in your voice these commands are your ideas and your body reacts to them. As try as I might, I've never been able to refuse the actions requested or commanded, even as my intellect told me this was not my words or actions. And why am I doing this? As I screamed at my daughter in full rage mode, and that would be around 11 hertz. We are low power animals, and it doesn't take much energy to manipulate us because we are so low power. I would say it's all below 15 hertz at the most. And the military has done extensive experiments with this. And I guess the list of what does what hertz, what frequency affects you is kept secret. The military has a whole list of frequency and what the cause and effect of what they can manipulate and force us to do. In some cases, we can be turned into a Manchurian candidate, and that works well. The target is destroyed, and the target's target is destroyed, as is in Aaron Alexis and Myron May. Handlers are nearby just in case they are needed, especially if the actions are important. You see, I've been living with this for 25 years and have made it my life work to study these people, what they're doing and why. So that is pretty much it. Total control, destruction of your lives, and the rich are happy. They have the robots, they think, to take our place. So they think and they live happily ever after, while my relatives bury me thinking it's a natural death. I asked an emergency doc one time what would be the clinical appearance of a hit in the head with a laser. She said a stroke, and hit in the heart would have a clinical appearance of a heart attack. How can you tell the difference? I know not. I know my neighbor was killed with breath-suppressing frequencies. I was hit with it. We had a common wall for our beds. She was right behind me. I was younger. It didn't affect me as much. And in 15 minutes, the ambulance came and they took her to the hospital and she died that night. And I know my former husband was killed with a shot to the head as a stroke. I know many in my family have been manipulated against or for me, as happened with many, many other people. And the advice that I was given is that just to love them from afar, you know, that 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 they're not really what they are. That if you're around, they're going to change. They are manipulated by subliminal suggestions and a word to the wise. Those who think they can block this don't. Just don't. So what do? Well, we can kill off the rich who think they cannot be reached, and they can. We can take down our government, which we can do, but I think the structure of our government is the best ever invented. We have as our shield the Constitution and must believe in it and use it against those who would corrupt the system. Others think those in power must be killed, and that is a possibility. I feel if this is contemplated, it should be done publicly so others can be aware of why. Many forget this is your lives, and most of all your children's lives, their future, and what do you want for them. I know many will think me callous to mention the word kill so easy. I had good teachers, the perps themselves, this program itself. I'm nonviolent, but if I ever get a chance, they're dead meat. One must also remember the police are no longer your friend, keeping the peace for peace sake. They are manipulating the public for the rich's sake. I hear in Boston at the train station, if you see something, say something, right out of the Stasi Nazi playbook. I at this time am being forced out of this little room I've moved into, hoping for a better, happy ending to my life, but it just got worse. Just when you think it can't get worse, it always does. Believe me, these people are so far ahead of us, I wonder if the public will ever catch up. And I doubt that because of the subliminal suggestions that are being radiated from all devices, if they ever will be able to act, because these subliminal suggestions are so powerful that I don't think that anyone can refuse them, especially the kids are, you know, these devices are always with them and a big part of their lives, you know. They tell all their secrets online. And of course, the FBI is right there sucking it all in for future, for their future lives. And even my family, they're just part of it too. And even I've told them, and you know, nobody listens. It's just to look at me. I'm online and I'm putting this on Facebook, so I'm buying into it as well. It's very difficult not to buy into this, even as destructive as it can be to you, to your family, to your lives. Let's see, what else do I want? Oh, the other thing I want to talk about is these devices have deniability built in. And this is one of the things that the government asked the scientists when they were working on it. We want to be able to deny the use of these weapons on the people that we're using them on. And that also is true. Very, very difficult. The reason that these devices are not public domain is because the government has put them under national security. And if anything is under national security, it's covert. So these devices are considered covert. They don't want anybody to know about them. They learned from the UK. In the UK, they have had a program called Control Orders. And in Control Orders, the government went public, and there was a huge outcry to the point that they went back to one person, and the one person turned around and sued the government. And from what I understand, he walked away scot-free with money. And the devices in that program were put under the title of covert. They were never mentioned, but these devices were used on these people as well. So our government saw that and decided that they weren't going to go public with this. They didn't want an outcry against it. And many of my fellow targeted individuals are speaking out as much as they possibly can everywhere. From what I understand, they've got these huge billboards in California, and I think it's wonderful. I say go for it because you don't have a choice. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, as far as stopping, you don't have a choice to stop. You have to continue. Otherwise, you'll be living in a world that, I mean, you'll be living in a world that's out to totally control you and your lives. So this also has a big religious aspect to it. And this other target that I've listened to on some YouTube calls, and whom I do trust as far as her intelligence and what she's done. She said that she has a friend who's very close to Trump, and she's spoken to this friend about what she's gone through because she's a target also. And this person has spoken to Trump about this. So I don't know what was said. I don't know if he even responded, but I know that this is what she said. And so he's knowledgeable. Nothing has changed. So what was said to him, I don't know. You know, maybe these people are all mentally ill or in this program or whistleblowers, activist, dissident. He hates Assange just as well as everybody else in government. Like I said, they don't like their dirty linen aired, you know, and I think a lot of them should be thrown out. Like, okay, I could name Sessions and McConnell and Mitch McConnell and his wife, who's in charge of transportation. She wasn't elected, she was appointed. A lot of these people who've been appointed, this new guy with the EPA, he you know, Pence, he's scary. A lot of these Christian evangelicals who are doing this because they think that the rapture is coming. That's another aspect of this, is the religious aspect in DC. That's why I believe what's going on in the Mideast is what, the 10th or 11th crusade against the Muslims. And here's how it goes. Christian evangelicals support Israel. Now, Israel gets all information from NSA. It goes right to them. Why? I don't know, but this was in the Snowden files. Analysts, maybe? I don't know. They're not part of the Five Eyes, but they're above them. They're true partnership with the United States. So what happens is this. What was I talking about? I forget. I wanted to talk about not NSA so much as went right out of my head. They forced it right out of my head. Hang on, I'll get it in a second here. Oh, religion. Okay, I got it. The Christian evangelicals believe that when all the land that Israel once controlled 2,000 years ago, the 12 tribes, when all that land is under Israel's rule, that Jesus Christ will come back and take all true believers in full body form to heaven to live in joy for the uh, rest of uh, uh, humanity, uh, for all time's sake. Now, that's why the Christian evangelicals were sending a lot of money to the Jews in Israel. And when you take two people who live side by side, like the Jews and the Muslims, and they got along very well, and you keep pumping money into one part of that equation, it promotes inequality, and inequality promotes war, which it has done. This is proof in the pudding. So what happened was, now the Jews believe that when all the land is back, for the 12 tribes, that their Messiah will come. Of course, he's different from Jesus, and the Christian evangelicals feel that um, the Jews will be converted, and those who will be converted will go to heaven in full body form. In other words, they won't die. It'd be like Mary in the Christian legend, that she was taken to heaven in full body form. She never died. They never buried her. Bump, she's in heaven. Well, this is what the rapture is. And the Christian evangelicals were very vocal about this at one time a few years ago. This is who I learned it from, was from the pastors and listening to them. And you never hear a word about it now. Not a word. It's very QT. And they even did books on this, and they did movies on this, and it's called the Left Behind series. Okay. So this is why the Jews like the Christian evangelicals, because they send them money. Why not? And the Jews feel that they won't convert, most of them anyway. And their Messiah will come. So it's both think that they're going to get something that they want. And this is why they're killing off the Palestinians. It's not because they hate them. Well, they think of them as vermin, because they would live on one side of the road with these great big swimming pools and beautiful houses that they built with their money sent to them from Jews in the United States who felt guilty because they weren't in the Holocaust. They probably got out by themselves or were born here. So they took care of their guilt by sending money to Israel. And the Palestinians, of course, didn't get a penny of this. And they lived across the road in the same mud huts that the Jews used to live in. And the Jews consider them vermin. Like the HUD considered dissidents, whistleblowers, and activists here in the United States vermin. That's why another reason why I was targeted, because I took out a petition, and a petition is a profile of a dissident, activist, and whistleblower. So remember that if you take out a petition, that's what they think of you. So anyway, that's what's going on as far as religion is concerned, and now they're having prayer meetings in DC with Trump's permission, and they're bringing in the religious aspect of it. And Betsy DeVos, who is Eric Prince, who was created Blackwater, they want to bring religion back in the school, and they want to privatize everything and make all the schools for profit. I do not think that's a good idea. And this woman has no experience with education. She has no idea what she's doing except to privatize the schools. I feel bad for the kids coming up. I really do. Anyway, this is basically what's going on in the country, that Christian evangelicals have taken over the government. Now, how they did this was because of the Koch brothers.
It's 10 hours.
The Koch brothers are billionaires, and they're mostly concentrating on the economic aspect of all of this. They want all the regulation rules loosened up. So they use the Christian evangelicals too in DC to carry out what they wanted to carry out. And the Christian evangelicals use the Koch brothers, I believe they're Catholic, to get what they wanted. So that's where we stand today. It's a pretty scary situation. I hope I've gotten everything in there that I wanted to say. It's 31 minutes, 31 and a half minutes, and I've just about run out of spit. So I still like my idea of all the truckers driving to California and parking on the highway and staying there until DC, to bring DC to their knees to reinstate the Constitution. It probably will never happen, but it is an idea, because everything you buy, groceries, dress shops, it's all brought in by trucks. Our economy runs on trucks. So this is my suggestion to give DC a wake-up call, is smarten up, or we'll ask the truckers to all go to California and park on the highway, block it off, and stay there. And a lot of people can join them in cars and have a great big party until DC comes to their senses, throws religion out of government, and gets us back onto a democratic state. That's what I see. That's my idea. So I've been talking for 33 minutes and some seconds, and like I said, I'm going to post this on YouTube, and I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. I know that when I first became a target, I was told that I'm expendable. And they said everybody's expendable. And it's true. All through history, everybody has been expendable. I only hope that we can get back to a constitutional government. We'll see. Hope I live to see it. So I just want to say, talk to you later. Take care. I'm sorry you have to look at my ugly face, but it's the only one I got. And all of this is because of the stress that they've put me through. Believe it. Take care.